As long as you're taking initiative, there will be risk. Okay. But you can wait for the solution to come to you.
Right.
You can go out and seek to create the
Right.
solution.
Yeah, I like that
That's
a lot.
the initiative.
That makes a lot of sense just in my life. I've seen that every day, like absolutely every day, the initiative, or there's this level that feels like where if I just let it happen, then I get bulldozed over in emotions and mentally. But if I like stand up to it or find a solution to the problem, what you're saying, take initiative, then I feel better at the end of the day, number one. And number two, I'm fulfilled too.
Right. Right. And so you're rightfully taking your place of taking initiative. And part of that is a protective thing, which comes in healthy masculinity, which is how do I protect the people around me that I love and have a responsibility to care for? Hello, I'm Dr. Roger Hall, and this is Second Thoughts with Roger Hall, podcast where I pretty much respond to whatever anybody asks me. Today, we're going to talk about masculinity and femininity. I think there has been a great deal of unhealthy masculinity and unhealthy femininity. And I hope today to shed some light on what I think are healthy qualities.
Great. Well, thank you, Roger. Thanks for answering these questions and all of that. What's the difference between masculinity and femininity, just first off?
I would say the essential order of masculinity and femininity, the essential quality of masculinity is initiative, which is acting, deciding, and then acting without force, without pressure. So I would argue that the essential nature of masculinity is to take initiative. Now, that's not to say that women don't take initiative. And if you want to misquote me and believe silly things, feel free. But that's not what I'm saying. Of course, women initiate. But if we talk about the essential nature of masculinity, it is initiative. The essential nature of femininity is response. Which is the response to that initiative. And we see this in the animal kingdom, in most species. Yes, there are females of species that take the lead, but typically the masculine initiates. And the feminine responds. And again, it doesn't mean that men don't respond and women don't initiate, but
Sure.
the general quality is that.
Okay. Why would, I don't know, I guess from my perspective, like, why does that matter? Why do I need to initiate anything? Seems a little bit easier for me to just kind of let everything just go by, you know?
Um, that's not much of a life. One of the unfortunate qualities of having security in our relatively safe country of the United States is that risk has become something people try to avoid. Historically, and in other countries that are less obviously stable, there is risk. And if you don't have the courage to approach the risks that come along for you in life, yeah, you'll sit back and you'll let someone else take care of you. But that's not an attractive quality.
Right.
And it's not a quality that propagates the species.
Right.
So timidity and lack of courage and the failure to embrace risk does not engender any attraction.
Gotcha. And so those are all traits that come with taking initiative. Because taking initiative is a little bit of a general or broad term for many actions.
Yeah, it's generally that sort of get up and get after it thing.
Okay.
I had a client who called it go juice. He says, I'm not hiring anybody anymore who doesn't have go juice. And it really is. I get up in the morning and I'm going to get stuff done.
Right.
It's not that I'm going to lay on my couch and wait for the UPS driver to bring my Amazon order or my Uber Eats order.
Mm,
It's actually doing something. And those are the qualities that are so attractive. And I meet a lot of young men who who say, I'm a really nice guy. Why is it that the girls are always attracted to the bad boys? And the reason they're attracted to the bad boys is because the bad boys, even though they're doing the wrong things, they have initiative,
right.
and that's attractive.
I see.
So if we look at this reproductive dance that men and women do of attraction and then consummation, it really requires that men take initiative, because generally women are looking for a man
Mm,
that does take initiative, one that she does feel like, okay, I'm a priority. He's taking care of himself. He's taking care of life. And if we partner up, it's going to be a more secure ride. So
mm,
I'll respond to that initiative. And lots of men have taken to the idea that they can just wait for things to happen. And I think the attraction of some popular media figures who are really, really unpleasant people
mm.
is that they're giving this exterior of hypermasculinity, which is really just it's fake masculinity.
Gotcha. Yeah.
It's got the muscles, it's got the money, it's got the babes, it's got all the things that look like that, the fancy cars. Um, what's appealing about that is that this is a person who has embraced risk and takes initiative every day, has courage. Those things are all attractive.
Yeah.
Those are all attractive qualities. What happens, and this goes back to an ancient concept called the golden mean.
Hmm.
And the golden mean is from I, I want to make sure I got this right. I believe it's the Platonic golden mean, maybe Aristotle, but I think it's the Platonic golden mean, which no, it's Aristotle. And what he says is there is it's in his book Nicomachean Ethics. Um, it's it's I have a quality, and if we say courage is the quality, that's the golden mean.
Mm,
Not enough courage is cowardliness, and that's not good. An
mm.
excess of courage, a malignant version of courage, is foolhardiness.
Mm.
And so if we look at masculinity, if we look at femininity, there's a golden mean. And if you have too much of the quality, it turns malignant. If you have a deficit of the quality, it's also malignant.
Oh,
It-
wow.
so we're looking for the right amount. But what sells clicks and what gets some women attracted is that they're attracted to the initiative, they're attracted to the risk taking, they're attracted to the courage involved in that, and they don't see the malignant form of it. And men who have been socialized to not take risks,
Mm.
what they wonder is, why I'm a nice guy, why aren't the chicks attracted to me? And it's because you're not taking initiative, you're not taking calculated risk. And I'll talk about what I mean by risk here in a
Yeah.
minute.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you don't have courage to face that. And so people have this idea that, I'm gonna take up skydiving, something really risky, or I'm gonna get a badass motorcycle, and I'm gonna race down the highway at 120 miles an hour.
Right.
That's not the kind of risk I'm talking about. I'm talking about calculated risks. Um, an excess is foolhardiness, and and life where you're um, self-contained, where you're driven to take care of yourself,
Right.
is a risky proposition. You don't have to look for it.
Hmm.
It will come to you.
That's
But
crazy. That's a good point. I like that.
I mean, your daily life will have enough risk. I mean, who
As
would
long as you're taking
decide?
initiative, right?
As long as you're taking initiative, there will be risk. Okay. But you can wait for the solution to come to you.
Right.
Or you can go out and seek to create the
Right.
solution.
Yeah, I like that a
That's the
lot. Yeah.
initiative.
That makes a lot of sense just in my life. I've seen that every day, like absolutely every day, the initiative or there's this level that feels like, and we'll keep going down, but there's this level it feels like where if I just let it happen, then I get bulldozed over in emotions and mentally. But if I like stand up to it or find a solution to the problem, what you're saying, take initiative, then I feel better at the end of the day. Number one. And
Yeah.
number two, I'm fulfilled too.
Right. Right. And so you're rightfully taking your place of taking initiative. And part of that is a protective thing which comes in healthy masculinity, which is how do I protect the people around me that I love and have a responsibility to care for?
Yeah.
And so if you have initiative, if you have courage, if you take risks, but you don't have that protective piece as well, protective for the benefit of the people that you love,
Yeah.
then you don't have healthy masculinity.
Yeah. Wow.
And again, people will go, well, I've got this obsessively jealous boyfriend, and he's always suspicious of everything. Yeah, that's not healthy.
Yeah,
I'm not
yeah,
arguing
yeah.
for
No,
that.
no,
I mean,
no.
that's the malignant version of protection, right? That
Yeah.
it's too much. That's safetyism. How do I build a prison around everyone I love so no bad thing can happen to them? That's not embracing the risk that is life.
Right. So, based on your historical understanding, the research that you've gathered, and your understanding of psychology, what would you say is those healthy lines? And it's kind of a tricky question because it's based on individuals, but what's something that somebody could like strive for to be better?
Well, uh, I think it all starts with the little things. What are
Okay.
the daily disciplines that you have that take initiative? Do you have habits for self-improvement, for life improvement, for financial improvement? Do spiritual improvement?
Hmm.
What are you doing without somebody nagging you?
Oh, yeah.
Because that's not taking initiative. That's response.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. And um so what are your daily habits? Do you have a set time that you get up every morning? Do you seek to do a little more at
Mm,
your workplace than is required of you? If you're looking for the bare minimum, that's not initiative.
yeah.
And as I talk with employers, one of their biggest problems is finding people with initiative.
Mm,
They don't have go juice. Just tell me what to do. I don't know how to do it. You know,
yeah. Wow.
I don't have enough training. Well, figure it out.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so those are some of those habits. When I talk about risk taking, it isn't about taking physical risks, and it isn't about going to the casino and gambling because that would just be.
That's
It's about how do I try something with the potential for failure,
mm,
and and they can be small failures, they can be relatively sizable failures. And again, I'm not telling you to bet all your money, um, but what I am
black.
saying, yeah, yeah. Um, I'm just- now I'm thinking of Wesley Snipes. You know that movie?
I think so. I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure I'm thinking of the same
Always,
one.
always, always bet on black.
Yeah, I think that's why I brought it up, actually.
Yeah.
Also a meme online about that too. I'm half step away from putting everything on black.
Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, I'm sorry. Now
Yeah,
I'm going
totally
down the
different
trail
tangent.
of Wesley Snipes, and also unlike Wesley Snipes, pay your income tax. Um, so anyway, um, now that I've wandered far, far away, so it really is about it really is about um, taking the risks that come along in life,
Right.
having the intestinal fortitude, the spine
Mm,
to take risk, um, and things will come along. There will always be opportunity, and the question is, are you going to shrink from that, or are you going to embrace that?
yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I think I might know the answer to this, but maybe it'll help if you clarify it a little bit. Going from 0 to 100 is really hard, just in general with what a lot of people do. And this sort of take initiative thing is that 100%. Your gear is going, you're all in, you're like working as hard as you can at something. Um, how could you help people speed ramp up to that? Because I don't know.
I mean, you're asking me to give people like a speed ramp for bodybuilding. How
Yeah,
do I
okay.
gain muscle mass overnight? Well, you don't.
Yeah.
The human being isn't built that way, that you'll get instant habits. This is not the Matrix where we download our ability to fly a helicopter immediately.
Yeah, yeah, I
If
see.
you want initiative, it comes from tiny little
Okay.
experiments.
Okay.
And so you're going to practice and rehearse these tiny little experiments. So if you're employed, do you volunteer for additional work? If
Right.
you're employed, do you show up early? Do you stay little bit late? If you're employed, are you doing what your boss asks you to do? Not the bare minimum, but above and beyond. And you go, well, I'm not going to get paid for that. No, you're not. But you're not doing that for the money. You're
Right.
doing that to become a better person.
Right.
I am troubled by the malignant masculinity I see in some popular media figures.
Yeah.
That there's an old author who wrote cowboy westerns, and his name is Louis L'Amour, and I think every boy should read Louis L'Amour. Here's how it plays out. Cowboy is alone, uh, meets a beautiful raven-haired woman, goes out to earn. See, here's the part. He doesn't think he can just get her in a gunfight. He goes out to earn his fortune, either through a gold mine or cattle. So he goes off into the wilderness in this struggle,
Mm-hmm.
prove himself worthy, and to make enough money that he can come back,
Mm.
win the heart of this raven-haired beauty that he's fallen in love with. So what we see is he has this desire for a relationship, but he wants to prove himself worthy through an important task that requires hard work, sacrifice, and risk.
Mm-hmm.
Then once he's done that, he comes back and proves himself worthy, and then she joins him, and then they have a happy life together.
Right, right. Yeah.
The novel. But that's the essential nature, which is masculine men, if they want to win the heart of a woman, they make themselves worthy. She doesn't make him worthy.
Right.
His actions make him worthy. And is there risk there? Yeah, of course there's risk there, that while he's off with the gold mine, some other guy, some big spender from, back east can come and steal her. That's the risk. Yes.
Yeah, that's great. So you'd say the opposite of that, and I mean we'll go as deep as you like to at this, but you say the opposite of that are a lot of the modern day influencers that are showing masculinity on that extreme pendulum that you're talking
Yes.
about. Okay.
Yeah, it's not opposite. It's just a malignant amount.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah.
Guys in their speedos, taking pictures of their muscles and their brand new tattoos, sitting on their Lamborghinis. I mean, it makes them feel good. Okay, that's great, and they have lots of money. They probably have lots more money than me. That's good.
Mm-hmm.
And a certain type of woman will be attracted to that. That's great. But that's not the way most healthy masculinity looks. I mean, it really is. How do I take risks in the life that is in front of me?
Mm-hmm.
How do I try new things, rather than being a social media influencer?
Right. Right. Yeah. I guess the next question I want to ask you is let's do a little comparison between modern day masculinity influence and historical masculinity influence, because I know social media has completely changed
Sure.
the way people perceive masculinity entirely in all the ways that you just described. But
and we have a toxic, malignant form of femininity as well. It's this
yeah,
hyper
you're right.
femininity.
That's a good point. So I don't know, maybe because I have no perspective on what people did back in, I don't know how far back we got to go to kind of do a good example, but what were a lot of the old masculine examples versus the newer ones?
It was working with your father on the farm.
Oh,
It was
wow.
working with other men in joint tasks where you worked together and you saw men that you believed were honorable and you tried to imitate them, and
Mm,
you saw men that you believed were dishonorable and you tried not to imitate them. It's just looking at the sample of the people around you in real life. And we become increasingly atomized with social media so that we really don't do a lot of work projects together.
yeah.
And sons and their fathers, um, besides the disastrous crisis of divorce in this country, and again, I'm not pointing fingers. I've been divorced,
Mm,
so I'm not pointing fingers, but it is a crisis in that
mm,
um, about half the boys in the United States are raised away from their father and don't have the influence of a man. And the way that work is set up now is that most men are not working in a way that their children can see what they do. They have no idea
yeah.
what their parents do. They don't see it. They don't really understand it, and so they don't
Wow.
see what their fathers do, so they have no model. We become an increasingly, and again, some of this is good, but we don't have the stability of seeing people on a weekly basis at worship because people
Right.
worship together less. Um, we don't see people in small communities where they're around other men to get that. So young men are looking, and the most convenient place is on their phone,
Yeah.
and and that's not real life.
Yeah, and I think convenience a little bit of a key word there too, because that's not initiative. Convenience isn't initiative most of
Is
the
it
time.
initiative? Right, right. And it requires getting out and getting dirty and to find these relationships and to do hard work and to sweat and to get blisters. All
Right.
of those things are the things that are really necessary for young men to see how to model behavior. How do you handle frustration? How do you handle interactions with other people? And you find out who you admire and who you don't. So
Yeah.
again, it's easier and more convenient to find a cartoon character of what masculinity looks
Right.
like.
Right.
And frankly, we're all attracted to the really good looking person. And if we look around at our families, they're not movie stars. Um, and so it's like, well, do I want to imitate someone who looks kind of dorky like me, or do I want to imitate somebody who looks like a movie star? Well, I'll imitate the movie star because
Mm,
human beings are attracted, and I don't mean sexually attracted, but we're just attracted to people who are better looking. It's
mm.
just human nature. There's research that we tend to look longer and more steadily at better looking people than average and ugly looking people.
Wow.
So better looking people have an inherent advantage. People just look at them longer.
Wow. That's a weird stat though. But,
My ideas about physical beauty changed because of reading a book called The Survival of the Prettiest. And it's an evolutionary biological look at physical attractiveness. And before that, I thought, oh, that's not that important. And after reading it, I go, yeah, I guess, yeah, yeah, it matters.
it's
It
undeniable in
matters.
that way.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So
I
would
mean,
you say
why do all the movie stars get hair transplants?
yeah.
I
Yeah,
mean,
or
the only
lip
famous
fillers and
Yeah, the only famous one that hasn't is Patrick Stewart.
Yeah.
But he could rock a bald head pretty well.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But most of the really good looking actors are getting their hair put back in.
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah. So would you say that like I don't want to put words in your mouth, but as a blanket statement, modern social media influencers or even online influencers or people who are trying to portray masculinity is negative?
No, no, no.
Okay.
It's that the malignant cells.
Okay.
I talk to people in the financial services business, and if you watch any of those finance shows on TV, they are bad financial advice, but great television.
Okay.
Because everything's a big issue. It's like sell, 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 buy, 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 move, move, move now. It sells ads, but the way financial services works well is it's really boring.
Yeah.
Okay, we're gonna dollar cost average and rebalance every year, and we're gonna watch and try to get this growth rate. And it's like it's like watching paint dry. It's not interesting. And so social media influencers, they're interested economically in growing their audience.
Mhm.
So they become increasingly dramatic in order to grow their audience. That's just how human beings work. We look longer at dramatic things.
Hmm.
It's called the von Restorff effect, that we look at things and pay attention to unusual things.
Hmm.
And we pay attention to them and remember them. It's just a human perceptual quality. So we're going to look at social media influencers who are really, really extreme because they're really, really interesting to human beings, and they catch their eye, they catch our ear. So sound advice, good advice, it never sells as much as fear, sex,
Yeah.
Greed. Nothing sells like those things.
Wow. Yeah.
Like self-development doesn't sell. I mean, fear sells, sex sells, greed sells.
Yeah.
But human performance improvement, it's not nearly as popular.
Yeah, but it's way more important.
Important versus selling are two different things.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Well, is there anything that you'd like to say or any nugget of advice or anything related to this topic?
Yeah, one of the things we talked about before we started recording is that the essential nature of masculinity is initiative. The essential nature of femininity is response. But I'll add to this model, every good man requires an invitation.
Hmm.
That no good man will force himself on a woman. No good man will initiate where he isn't wanted. That's called a stalker.
Right,
Okay,
right.
so he is always looking for some invitation from the feminine that this is where you want me to initiate.
Mhm.
So back to the Louis L'Amour. If the beautiful raven-haired woman looks at him and sneers, well, he's not going to go off and dig a gold mine to bring money back to her. He needs to know that she's interested. And a good man will then go on this quest, take these risks in order to prove himself worthy and to win the heart of this woman. But she needs to initiate. And what women tell me is like, why don't men get it? It's like, because we don't.
Literally.
Well, I was like giving him all the signs. It's like, you got to paint a picture, because men are really pretty oblivious to some of these feminine social cues. So that's why men are attracted to this malignant form of femininity.
Mm.
And one of the experiments I've done with my clients who have difficulty with their choices in women is I say, take a trusted woman friend to the mall with you. And I know people don't go to the mall anymore, but to a gathering of people. And I want you, and this has to be a trusted female friend, to tell her who you think is beautiful. And she will tell you she's not beautiful. She's just being indiscriminately seductive. There's another word for that, but I won't use it. And men confuse this indiscriminate seduction because seduction is an invitation.
Wow.
And so they confuse certain kinds of dress with attractiveness, and they'll miss the beautiful woman who is not indiscriminately seductive.
Wow.
You see where I'm going with this?
Yep.
So men get confused by this. And so lovely women who are interested in a guy, they're not going to tramp it up. Well, good, But men usually, especially young men, they don't know how to distinguish that. So they think a woman who's indiscriminately seductive is really, really hot. That doesn't mean she's beautiful. That doesn't mean she's a character. It just means she's putting on all the signs of, I'm inviting you.
Right. Right.
Yeah. And again,
Wow.
don't anybody take this as this is an invitation for violence.
Of course not.
That's not at all what I'm saying. But in this response, good men will never go someplace that they're not invited.
Yeah, I think taking initiative too is there's a level of self-control in initiative and taking initiative. Being lazy is there's no self-control.
Right. And if we were to talk about the master skill of all successful people, it is the delay of gratification, self-control, willpower, telling yourself no. That is the foundational skill.
Yeah, I think that one's incredibly important to touch over because it transcends generations. Like that's just, it's not something that like modern day has just been dealing with, between social media and stuff. So we'll talk about that soon.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, this goes back to the caveman days.
Yeah.
That those who were able to put off an immediate reward for a longer term reward later were rewarded and had greater success. If you were out for yourself and out for the right now, you would never have enough to last.
Yeah.
Dogs are not good at saving things. But human beings who are successful have figured out, how do I set some aside for later? And that's the self-control piece.
Yeah, it's pretty powerful. Thank you, Roger.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you like to share? You feel like that's pretty good information for the topic?
I think it's a start. I think there's probably a lot more there, but without becoming critical of people, I think you don't have to imitate a social media influencer. Find a real person who has had success in his life and figure out what he did. Successful people are often asked for money, but they're not nearly as frequently asked for, how do I imitate you? How do I learn the skills that you had? And very often later in their lives, they're very interested in sharing that information.
Right.
Because developmentally, older people are looking to give back to the younger generation.
Right. Wow. That's pretty powerful. Well, thank you, Roger.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So this is Second Thoughts with Roger Hall. And if you like this content, please like, subscribe, and we'd love for you to share it with a friend. If you think anything in what I've said today would help someone you know or love, please share this video with them.